just to kind of quickly go to this one as well, it is restarting at 0-0. If it was a bug in round 1, that means we're going to replay that round out. So the game is starting from scratch, Tim. Rather than a 12 PM start time, we're going for a 12:30. But at least we're back in, so I assume we'll see the same bands again. Does memory serve me right? Mira and what was the other attacker band? Capital. That's the one. Ta-da! There we go.
We do see this. So again, for anybody, I know we've had 30 minutes.
I can't believe Shuri for 0 and 5. Oh. My points are going to be tanked.
Oh, and KZ gets a do-over.
Oh! This is rubbish.
There we go. So for anybody unfamiliar with the new banning process, both teams banned 2 operators at the beginning for the side that they are not playing on. So Elevator have banned 2 attacks, FURIA have banned 2 defenders, and after 3 rounds they will be able to ban an additional operator, bringing them to a total of 3, 6 banned out overall. And then when we get to the half, wipe the slate clean and start again. I didn't mention overtime last time, Des, because of course that impacts overtime a little bit as well. So if we were to get to overtime in this or any other game with the new ban phase, what will happen? The teams will not ban again. It will just be the 3 relevant bans that they picked that will be enforced. So if they are on attack in overtime, it will be the 3 defensive bans that they chose during the game that will be enforced in overtime, and that will rotate appropriately round to round.
All right, I think because it's a full restart, we also get to change the site, Tim. So we're not going to see ourselves down in Church and Arsenal, which is where the original round 1 was. We're up in gym and bedroom. We spoke about this being the second choice site, if not the primary site for a lot of teams. And here, rather than Cash and CC, that was where we were going to go for round 2 originally, now we're going to see all 3 sites. And we haven't even really finished a single one yet, actually.
No.
A good spread.
I believe, for anybody who it's a good point there's about, going to a different site, because on a rehost, we would usually expect to be set. So I learned there's a difference between what a replay and a rehost. Yes. They are different situations, and a replay would allow it to be like a brand new round. You could just pick a different site, you can do whatever, whereas a rehost is where you have those, those conditions of going to the same places. So, as you say,
I don't know why we do this, by the way.
To do what they want.
I'll say like,
sit there going, oi, oi.
No, like lean, like look over the top of the wall, like like when you lean, when you lean left in the game, you lean left IRL as well. It's a bit like, what the hell? I can't believe I've just said IRL. Oh my god. When I could have said in real life, but here we are. No, KZ! You can't get kills because Tim's going to love it too much. But he has got the start. It's Ion to fall. 2 quick kills come out of nowhere, though. KZ is onto a double. No! I can't stand this. Either way, it's a 3 versus 2. Elevate looking pretty good here. KZ's found a 3rd. Stop it, man!
There's the triple that we all wanted. KZ
coming in it's what big. You wanted.
Coming in big for FURIA on this first round. Elevate kind of had them on the ropes a little bit. They've managed to get themselves a couple of kills, and this is a better defense, than the last one that we saw from them. Certainly kept themselves active later into the round. 2v2 now, so very much how we saw the actual, the previous first round go. It's getting down to that stage. Yes! However, this time Elevate managed to keep fighting. Semper picks up KV, but we find ourselves now in a 1v1, and I tell you what, Des, I wouldn't like to go against JV92 here.
First shot into a headshot, but again, Tim, it's a round where it feels like FURIA should be the ones coming out on top, and sure enough they have, but maybe not quite in the fashion they'd have expected, bringing it down to a 1 versus 1. Elevate keeping them close, and yes, most disappointingly, KZ gets 3k. For people, I'm not like a KZ hater, I want to stress here, guys. For those who weren't here before the rehost, we're playing in a fantasy league, and Tim picked KZ. He had nothing in the original round 1. 0 and 1, I was like, yeah, cool. I know Shurik's doing bad, but so's KZ, therefore it's okay. And then he's just stepped up and got himself a 3k. I am fuming.
Because I big-brained it.
No, you didn't, because the original round 1, he didn't get anything.
I big-brained it.
No, you did not.
Fully big-brained it. Psycho, just looking to maybe hide himself away in the shower there, straight away with the Oryx, gets himself into the little corner there, and we'll see whether he is droned out successfully. We've got Deimos on the other side. KZ, of course, doing fantastic work last time around. It's going to make it difficult, potentially, to keep Psycho hidden. They really need to prevent him being found, and Romeo is playing around there, trying to keep the drones out of the way, I think, so that they don't know about Psycho's presence. So we'll see. Keep an eye on Psycho. Where's he going to play in this round? Where's his movement? Is he able to pick up a little bit of a sneaky flank?
What's KZ cooking here, Tim, rocking out the fuse? Not very often you see this operator unless you've got something particularly like a set piece play in mind.
Can you go back to the Deimos, please?
No, Tim, you can stay on this operator for the rest of the half as far as I'm concerned. Give him a shield for all else I care about. They're going straight in for it. Of course, we saw the Kai band away, which should make this pretty easy to get the whole thing cleared out here. And sure enough, in it goes. Won't find any kills, but there's a lot of soft destruction, and any gadgets in the vicinity, well, they are gone, Tim.
Yeah, we're just getting a beautiful view there of how Fuse can be used alongside those hard breaches to help clear out utility, help create that space, help get those walls opened up, and just really great lines of sight. There's so much that those Fuse chargers do. They are not really there intended to get kills. They are there to clear utility. They are there to clear space, and they do a fantastic job of it.
I have noticed a couple of people have asking about those bullets at the top of the screen, Tim, and what it means, and we'll talk about this once the round has ended up, but for now, don't worry too much about it. We'll focus on the conclusion of this round first and foremost. It looks like it's going to be a garage take here. They put quite a bit of focus into Cash CC. You've got 3 players here sat outside in the south side, one of them being Felipox on the Monty, who's now starting his cross. Nades coming in at the top as well. Lots of pressure starting to build up, but the crossfire is there. Felipox is down, and elsewhere, Hertz picks up 1.
That's actually really big, taking the Monty out there, because that's going to be the spearhead of your push, trying to get up onto Catwalk. They do still have the Blackbeard shield of Hertz to be able to maybe replace him, and that's exactly what he's gone to do in this situation. Maybe a little bit more aggressive than the Monty as well, able to drop that shield in front of his rifle and make those challengers a little bit quicker. So we get to 1 kill each and a little bit of a stalemate at the 1:10 mark. Just waiting now for somebody to blink, to make a move. Do they know about each other's presence? KZ does not! He's going to be taken out by Psycho, but Hertz is there for 1 onto Romeo. And again, these two teams just battling with each other, punch for punch here.
Oh, beautiful stuff, but they still managed to get in, and like last round, FURIA have kept things competitive right up until the end. They won the 1 versus 1, but can they convert the 2 versus 2? They've got both players pinned in here, Tim, on red stairs. If they can get the diffuser down, well, this is very, very a tough situation coming out for Elevate. They see 1, almost gets it, but no, Naka made the cross into a 1 versus 2, and JV closes him out. I bet now you wish he was in your fancy team, Tim.
Who else? 2 rounds in a row. JV92 steps up and closes it out. We know how much of an impact he has on this team, and we're seeing it right in front of us. Absolutely beautiful stuff. You mentioned, Des, those bullets that we were going to talk about. Of course, the points that are available during this group stage are based around those bullets. So every team starts with a reserve of 6 bullets available to them. Now, for day 1 and day 2, the most that they can reload per match is 2. So they have a choice of reloading 1 or reloading 2.
Very apt, Tim, because Elevate have done 1 and FURIA have done 2.
It's almost as if they were doing it so that we could use it as an example. So the white 6 means that at the start of the match, that was their total reserve. That's their total points in the tournament. Everybody's on 6. So we can see in red there, FURIA have reloaded 2. Elevate have chosen to reload 1. They may be not as confident going up against former world champions. So if FURIA win the game, they gain an additional 2. So they will go on to 8 overall. If they were to lose the game, they would lose those reloaded bullets and drop down to 4. Simple as that. And then the teams are ordered in a league based on how many total bullets they have.
Which, like you say, says that Elevate expect to lose this game, which is why they've only
They
reloaded
know it's going to
one.
be a tough one. Yeah, exactly that. So it's kind of, you know, just looking, how much do we go for on the reload, dependent on how confident we are that we can get this win here. There is, of course, Lax mentioned it, we do have cards that can be in play. There's only one that we're potentially going to see today. There are more coming through the week, but conditions only allow for one to be sort of successfully activated today, and that is the Flawless card. So if any team wins 7-0, which is still possible here in this one, they would also then take an additional 2 bullets into their reserve. So for argument's sake, FURIA, the only ones now who could do it. If they were to win 7-0, they would get their 2 that they've reordered, and they would get 2 additional bullets for the Flawless card, which is automatically activated when you win 7-0.
Well, your boy's back on the Deimos, Tim, and he's been slammed at the start of this round. An entry coming in for Elevate, hopefully in a commanding position. And Ion, compare this back to the round that we had replayed, Tim. They got decimated on the top floor, but Ion here by himself has picked out 2 players. That means FURIA are down to just 2 on side. And it feels like Elevate might finally get around on the board here and show FURIA that it's not going to be a 7-0 rollover.
Well, as I explained the Flawless card, it looked more and more likely that we wouldn't be seeing that outcome here.
Someone's asked, by the way, how does the reloading work during the game? It basically has nothing to do with what happens in the game itself.
Nothing during the game. It's
agreed
like beforehand.
Yeah.
And it's based on the outcome.
It doesn't influence the game itself at all. There'll be cards that can be activated on future days that can play into it, like forcing out a 1 versus 1, where we have a best of 5 1v1 between a player from each team on, I believe it's Chalet we go to. It'll make things very spicy, but we can't play that card until day 3. So for today, it's just about trying to build up as many bullets as you can. That's kind of a game outside of the game if you want to think about it that way. So don't worry about it too much. On day 1, it's not going to have a massive impact. Tomorrow and day 3, it will really start to build up. For Leapox, he's left in a 1 versus 4 team, and I think this one should be pretty much shut out. We spoke about the fact that for Elevate, they've got players like Iron and Psycho have got a lot of experience between them. Some others with only a year or two's experience coming up against world champions, it can be quite hard. But even they've got the composure here to close out a 4 versus 1 and give nothing over to FURIA. Elevate are on the board.
And I think there'll be a lot more value to getting that 1 round for Elevate than they will have been getting even the 2 rounds potentially for FURIA. You know, as we keep commenting on, there's players on the side of Elevate, not as experienced, not as familiar playing in these sort of surroundings, getting a round on the board. It gives them that sort of solid foundation now to start working from. We're in this one, we've broken the seal, we've got the round done, and we can build on from there. So it gives them a bit of something, and they know they're not going to suffer that flawless. You know, there's all sorts of things that it'll do for the confidence of the team.
And look at the bans too. We've had 2 more bans come in here. We mentioned when you get to round 4 now, you get to ban 1 additional operator each that's for the side you're against. So Elevate have banned 3 attackers. They've gone for 2 hard breachers plus the Capital, and FURIA have gone for the Electro Bros, Kaid and Bandit taken away, as well as the Mirror. So something we spoke about was how cool that's going to be, seeing as things develop into stage 1, into the major, for example, later this year, is seeing how teams begin to counter-strat and ban away the other side, especially when you come to like round 4 and round 10, looking at what teams have done for the first 3 rounds and taking away the more problematic of those operators.
Bomb located by attackers.
And we can see, I like it, we can see how reactionary it is. You know, they're thinking we need to take away that wall denial because we're now going to have to work with Hibana if we want the hard breach, for example. As it is, they're going to move away from, you know, worrying too much about hard breach here. As we can see, they've got good soft breach option there. They've got the Flores coming along. They've got the hard breach gadgets. Again, more difficult if you've got electricity to go up against. But they're going to be a little bit more limited on their breaching ability when it comes to this site. Getting a nice big opening in CCTV wall, for example, is going to be a little bit more tricky.
Sure. Well, let's see how things play out here once again. The Maestro coming along from Naka here. It feels like a throwback to an old school comp in a way, seeing a Maestro, a Jaeger and Double Mai coming out together. It's been a long time since we've seen that heavy combo coming out. The problem is, Tim, a Fuse is the perfect response. So many of those cluster nades come out, and it doesn't matter how many ADSs or how many magnets you've got deployed, it's going to chew through all of them.
It's going to be fascinating to watch the take on this because they've got that hard breach charge, the secondary hard breach charge is used on the wall now, but like I said, it's just a lot more limited. You're having to work through a small square of an opening. Think about that combined to an exothermic charge going off on that wall that blows the whole thing open. So you like to get on the rappel, you like to hold that angle towards CCTV door to prevent defenders moving through. We might actually see more of a presence from defenders inside of CCTV here. There is the possibility. We just see Jaeger moving back through. It's allowing that movement and rotation because they haven't been able to get that big hole opened up. They didn't bring the Hibana along.
Really tried to dig themselves in. A great bit of play here as well, using the shield up front to get a bit of damage done. Herd's on for a good 2k to kick things off. FURIA back in control after that last round went away from them. Look like they finally got the wrapped back together here and are in a spot to start doing some damage. I was going to say Semper here on the flank could have been the big X factor for them, but JV, well, he's got that flank held down. They'll get nothing from it. A nade forces Naka to move away, and like that, it is a comfortable closeout. FURIA with a flawless round in round 4.
Yeah, really nice attack from FURIA there. As I said at the beginning, I was a little bit concerned maybe about the reduction in their ability to hard breach with that second ban coming along taking Ace away. They chose not to take Hibana, but you know what? They've made it work beautifully without those operators. They were limited with those hard breach gadgets. They still got the job done. Use the shields well. Getting the Monty, getting the Blackbeard in there. Great stuff. We're going to have a tack timeout coming in from Elevate on the back of that one.
Little peekaboo there. You can see me being like a little Twitch chat moderator or something. We had a few questions come in. One was around the bullets, I guess. But in fact, the easy one to answer, are they playing on the Siege X build? Yes, they are. So I think 5 of our maps have been updated.
I was
going to
say that's an important point, though. Yes, we are on the CGX build, but depending on the map, you may still see some of the
old
quote-unquote old Siege maps.
Yeah.
Because not all of them have been updated for CGX yet. 5 of them have. Quickly off the top of my head, Chalet, Bank, Cafe, Clubhouse, and Border are the 5 that have been updated here. So then, if we're playing on any of the others, like Night Haven Labs, it'll be the same as you would see in Siege.
Mizia Cast, do you have to ban operators after the round? No, it's after round 4. Sorry, after round 3, as you're going into round 4, is when you ban that 3rd operator for your side. What you'll see after we finish round 6 is all those bans get wiped clean, because FURIA will then be on the defense, so they'll ban attackers, and Elevate will be onto the attack, and they will then ban defenders. So we have a bit of a side switch there. In total, you ban 6 operators across each team does. So you see 12 bans, but they're not all in effect at the same time. But you'll see when we get to round 7, you'll see the ban overlay come back up, and we'll go through that whole dance again.
It'll become normal very, very quickly.
Where are the face cams? We had a rehost, therefore there'll be a few issues there, but we'll get it sorted in time for the next game, don't you worry.
10 seconds left before
it happens.
It does. Of course it does. Of course it always happens on day 1. We know this.
5 seconds left.
So moving into round 5 we go.
I've been corrected by Producer Sam. Of course, we've got a reference and break the 4th wall here to Producer Sam. No face cams today, unfortunately, on B Stream. Hopefully, though, we can get that sorted for next time.
There we go. Answers, questions asked, answers given.
You can look at the smiles when we end the round and we cut to the player cams, and that's when you can enjoy seeing what they're all up to.
Going to have the Hibana straight away placing those charges onto the CCTV. Soto canister will come out just to slow that down. Of course, those unfamiliar with Tuberite, it doesn't destroy the charges or anything, it just pauses them effectively until that icy coldness wears off the wall, and then they will reactivate with however much remaining time they had until detonation. So they don't start again or anything. If got 2 seconds left till the detonation, it will then be 2 seconds till they detonate. So they can hold that wall for a little bit. What they're doing here is burning time. They're not going to prevent it being open, but by doing that, Semper is just allowing himself the time and space to be able to watch that outside balcony along those windows and just prevent FURIA from getting onto those too soon. Once that wall opens, which it has now, Semper, he can't really play onto that window. He's going to keep himself in CCTV there. He can watch the breach for anybody coming in, but he can't really expose himself too far over onto the window. But what he might do is take the risk of, I'm going to hang around for 30 seconds. If nobody comes, I'm going to presume that they've actually just opened the breach for phantom pressure and moved away. So he might then start taking that risk onto CCTV window once he's got that little bit of intel.
For sure, and there's no need to rush it as well. I know we're halfway the round in, but you can see this is going to be an explosive execute at some point with the Ying and the Blackbeard on side. That just screams you get your prep work done and then you go absolutely bananas. And sure enough, JB's be the first one in here, and even though Psycho was expecting him,
he had a ping. He had a ping. He wasn't ready.
Semper was just a bit too ready for him in response. 2 quick kills for Elevate as well. Now things are looking balanced on their side. Still with this Blackbeard that can do a bit of work, but he's got himself a bit of a crossfire here, Tim. 1 player to the right and 1 to the left. This is not a pretty situation to be in.
No, he needs a little bit of support, and there it comes. KZ underneath, working on the book, and the pressure is mounting on Naka. He's trying to move himself inside of logistics, and that is the support he needed. Ion manages to pick up nades, so all of a sudden everybody else on the side of Elevate can now focus towards main stairs because they know that KZ's downstairs. So right now, Herds, he's had to back off, Des.
And what I love is all the players have drawn back in together here and Elevate. They know they can play for these trades and play for these crossfires, and against the shield, it's one of the best things that you can look to do. Semper getting a little bit low here, but now Herds has gone, and KZ with it all to do. I know you're begging for him to walk away with 4 kills from this closed in for your fantasy, and that is one hell of a shot. Gets away with 1. Will he find a second? Not quite just now, but very close to it. As that clock runs down to the last 10 seconds though, Tim, it feels like we're a little bit cooked.
He's playing, he was quite literally playing with fire there. We could see one of those new environmental aspects. The pipe had been shot out next to that double wall. He had to move in anyway, but he was, taking a little bit of a risk there, and it was nice use of that from Elevate, assuming that they had taken the opportunity to take that shot, but they get themselves a really nice round there as well. Like I say, what I liked about Elevate in that round was their awareness of the positioning. Herds at the top of main stairs on the Blackbeard was a thorn in their side. He was a real problem. But as soon as that kill goes down onto nade, everybody refocuses to main stairs and forces Herds back because the call has come. Buck's down below logistics office. He can't challenge us directly, so they know they can focus. If anything, that's the priority. Right, let's try and hit this Blackbeard while we've got him solo. They couldn't quite manage to get that done, but it was enough to get them established and to get them formed back up, ready to continue defending. Good stuff from Elevate.
Let's go and look at my my boy Shuri to the other game, see how my fantasy's doing.
How's it going, Des?
He's 0-9.
Oh, no. I mean, oh, no, genuinely for sure.
I'll be having words in the pool later.
But for your fantasy, I can't really worry about that too much for your fantasy.
No, it's terrible. Oh, okay, it happens. It happens. That's right, Tim. Start slow and then warm up. That's the way we'll approach it.
Oh, it's the best way.
It's kind of almost what Elevate have done here, to be fair, because let's not forget, FURIA were up 2-0. I thought they were going to really struggle to get a single round out of this Elevate, and sure enough, they got the third when they were in the downstairs, and I thought, okay, maybe they get a couple out of this half. It could yet build up towards being that, but I think we're more likely to see the 3-3. They're back down in the basement again here, where they've already won before, and FURIA, the last couple of attacks, have looked a little bit shaky at points. Hurts here, chewing his way through that Goomon, but still wins the 1v1 onto Romeo. Really could have done better there.
See, Blackbeard is always going to win that 1v1, and that's a really good contrast to how I said they dealt with him last time when they had him trapped at the top of main stairs and they kind of put pressure on from multiple sides, applied a couple of people to that problem. There, in a 1v1 like that, Romeo is always likely to lose it. So the plant is going down. JV92 Herds, however, is taken out. That's a big kill from Psycho, but they can do nothing to stop the diffuser going down. And now FURIA just need to hold on to this in the post plant. JV92, he's doing it all, Des. He's getting a diffuser. He's getting a double. Make it a triple. JV92, unstoppable.
He's a bit on one today, isn't he, Tim? I know it doesn't count because it was in that first replay round, but he had a 3K back then as well, and he just will not be stopped. I think he's now up to 8-1 on kill, even higher than that, thinking about it. It'll be even crazier, but we'll see, of course, when the stats catch up. Now, I did mention that we have this whole reset now on the bans because the sides are swapped. They're done simultaneously, so you aren't taking forever to get through a ban phase. It's basically 3 bans, each all taking place at the same time.
Important thing as well, you couldn't maybe quite see it clearly because you weren't probably looking for it there, but you could see the coach in behind the players talking to them, and that's because through this second banning phase the coach is allowed to speak to them. It's not taken as a tactical timeout or anything. They still have that to take if they wish to. Elevate have already used theirs. FURIA will still be able to use theirs. It's just an opportunity for the coach to give a little bit of feedback about maybe what they see in the bans, what can we do in the bans, but I'm sure there's opportunity there as well to maybe talk about a few other things.
I just like how we saw this come out when we had all 3 bans coming through back in the first half, but we've gone straight for both of the electrification operators taken away immediately. Kaid and Bandit off the board here for Elevate, just not wanting to deal with that on their attacks here, and it might prove to be a good shot. It means you haven't got to worry about bringing something like a Maverick when you've got that taken away. It means they can lean into, as they're doing here, bringing the Hibana along instead. Now you might be looking at that and thinking, why the hell has smoke just gone through? That's because we have these destructible ingredients around the map here, the environmentals. The ones that you'll often find going down is that when they are going to influence the attacking game, i.e. they can use it to their advantage. That one there, really good to smoke off Dirt Tunnel, for example, and be able to shield yourself when going for a plant through Kitchen Hatch. You get rid of those in the prep phase. You don't want to deal with it, you just get rid of them pretty much immediately. It will be the same for the attackers when they get into the map. They'll want to get rid of any ones that could impede them later into the round, super early on, so you haven't got to worry about it in the dying few seconds when it can have a mega impact. And you kind of saw it back in the last one with that fire going off, of course, the gas pipe. I think Casey was in a spot where he had to make his move, otherwise he was bound to get blown up or run out of time, one of the two, which is why he got forced into a difficult situation. It's just another little layer to the game that you've now got to consider.
In we go to the action phase of round 7 then. FURIA defending the basement to kick things off. You see a presence from them around the map, as I would expect from this FURIA team. They're certainly not going to give up any ground too easily. We've got Herds just up in there and Lounge. Philippox is going to be the interesting one on the Scorpos. So he's inside of Strip at the minute, and he's probably going to play his life here for a little bit, try and burn some time, but the real kicker for him will be if they don't find him and he can work in. It's often forgotten is that wing of the map, and if he can work his way into their flank, absolutely beautiful. But of course, playing the Scorpos score post there. It gives you that opportunity for that free kind of teleport, essentially. There's 2 robot shells. One of them will be positioned down inside, and Philippox will have the opportunity to shut off the one he's using and relocate himself back down into that basement shell and activate it. So we'll see whether he does that. He's taken a little bit of damage now, so they're aware of his presence. He needs some help, does he? Casey's there! Philippox finds one, and that is a huge start from the roaming duo of Furia.
That feels like a real siege timing moment as well. Oh, it's horrible. Because Iron had got to this point on main stairs, was ready to get the track onto the Valkyrie, but just as he hits the track, while he's crossing towards Bathroom, managed to get a kill onto the Hibana on the other side. It's unfortunate for Elevate, but super well played here by KZ especially. A 5 versus 1, and Furia, as you'd expect on the defense, are looking impenetrable. Romeo's got it all to do in a 1 versus 5, Tim, but it feels to me like this is going to be a 5-2 scoreline coming up for Furia.
Yeah, it certainly does. Romeo, low health as well. It's going to be a big ask for the book here. Got a little bit of utility that he can use should he need in the form of that skeleton key. Maybe get himself a little extra line of sight. He's got a good idea that one's inside a kitchen, I think, here. He's probably heard the gunfight, but it doesn't matter. KZ steps around the corner and slams his man. Picks up the final kill, and that's going to be, indeed, another round going to Furia. They're looking good.
I mean, Casey barely looked bothered there. He was literally, he probably moved, what, 5 meters around a pinpoint at the top of those main stairs, or at the midpoint of them, dashing towards kitchen a bit, in towards bathroom to take a challenge onto the Hibana, picking up kills left, right, and center. Elevate got to get their ideas together here if they're going to shut down Fury and be a little bit quicker on the push in, and maybe with what they've currently, it's got Hobbit, of course, they can change away from this, but we're seeing things like the Sens, the Capital, the Lion, you got Psycho back on the old faithful Monty. This could be a real blast from the past, Tim.
Fury might not even get another ban here, Des.
No, they could do it all in the 7-2.
If they get the next 2 rounds and it's over in round 9, they won't, of course, get that opportunity for the 3rd ban that comes at the start of round 10. So we'll see whether they can get this done without needing it or not. Like I say, it's been a very good start from the former world champions, not current, of course, that's FaZe. But Furia just looking pretty solid. I don't feel like Elevate have ever really pushed them. There's been a couple of rounds that they've won, obviously, but it feels like, yeah, they've picked up a couple of sort of 50-50 gunfights around the map and then been able to use the man advantage. There's no rounds where I've looked and thought, wow, Elevate really won that. They really were, and this is where we're going to see it more on the attacking side, but I'm waiting for that sort of wow moment of that was a great strategy, that was really well executed, they've gone in and won that, they've taken that round away from Furia. I'm kind of waiting for that.
I've gone to the game again, so I wish I hadn't. Should be 0-10.
I mean, I feel for him. I genuinely do.
Do you feel for me, though?
Not for you. I never want to see players struggling like that inside of the game.
Oh, man.
I don't feel for you.
I mean, otherwise, I think JB has had a bit too much fun. He's up to 12-2 in this game, Tim. And now he's got himself across the plane on the dot. KZ got a bit aggressive here, wanting to get his KD padded out, but not able to succeed. Romeo instead being the collector of his scalp in this round.
That's the difficulty that Elevator will face now, of course. Furia 5-2 up, they start feeling like they can take a few risks here. They can go in there and get involved and have a little run out, see if they can get an early pick. They're going to feel emboldened. They're going to feel confident that they can do so. As it is, they've been punished, and all Elevate can really do here is just dig their heels in, make it as difficult, punish them every time. If they're going to offer you a tasty morsel, like somebody running out of lower garage, then you got to take it. You got to eat it up. And that's exactly what they've done. KZ lost. Castle not the end of the world. Those barricades will already be in position, so it's not really utility loss. We can see the Monty is pushing up here. Psycho is just choosing to take damage from the barbed wire rather than having it cleared out.
At this point, though, he's in a real dangerous position, Tim. The thing is, as the doc here, you know that there's someone going to be challenging along with this Monty, or at least trying to benefit off the fact that it's creating pressure. He can drop that shield and knock the doc down at any time, which is where the respect has got to be given. So it's a lot of pressure to be put under, and sure enough, here's that player. It's Romeo below, looking for his man, and now the doc knows where he is. In fact, it's Romeo taking a lot of shots. Tim, there are 3 players here trying to get rid of one guy. Steps up and gets rid of one. They get the trade, so it's something. Romeo on for a 3K, and maybe here with the shield still in hand, Elevate can get something done.
There has been quite a heavy cost for them there, just in clearing out that dock. It's not just about the manpower, the loss of Ion and Semper along the way, it's also the loss of time. They're down to 45 seconds, but they should have what they need now. Romeo is the big question mark because he's got the diffuser in hand, and they want to get him in here with Psycho so they can plant him behind that server rack realistically. They've got the cover on there. You can see now he's moving up, he's getting himself into his spot that he needs to be. They've got the cover from the breach, but Felipox gets a big kill and drops the diffuser on the ground, Des.
This is the hard one now. They've got to make this work, Tim. They had a spot in the 3v2 to cook something special. They might have drawn out the C4, but they're in this 2 versus 2. He's in for a plant, and with no C4 on side, yes, this can go down. Doesn't matter what the cam shows them. Without the control they need, this is going to get stuck, and now it's looking real sticky.
It just shows how easy this site can be to plant on. You really don't need very much. You just need that cover from the wall. Elevate have understood that, and they've played it beautifully. Naka just holding that angle to prevent the push through. As you say, the nitro already used has been a critical moment against FURIA here, despite that fight back, and you would expect now that Elevate are able to hold on for this final 10 or so seconds that they need. Naka manages to cut down Nade. It's all going to be up to Felipox. 13 seconds with a Monty in his face. Not a chance, Des.
Absolutely not. Psycho is kind of baiting him out here to make sure he can't get on it, and now there is no time left. The most he can play for is kills, but Elevate have pulled it out to a close. I think as soon as they knew that C4 came out from Felipox, they were like, that's our time. This is it. We can get this plant down. That's exactly what they did. And sure enough, Tim, they'll get another round on the board here. Not quite caught up to FURIA yet, but at least being competitive.
No, I was saying I was waiting to see Elevate really come out and win a round. I feel like they did with that one. It was close. Felipox had that moment where he took Romeo out, dropped the diffuser on the ground. It was maybe a little bit slow from Elevate, even once they'd taken that catwalk. They still didn't kind of rush their way in, but that was fine. They used the time that they had, and even with 2 of them, they just showed such a great understanding. I know it's a pretty basic concept for anybody who's played Siege for a long time. You're aware of holding that angle across and how it prevents anybody pushing into CCTV and the safety that it creates for Psycho to get that diffuser down. But Elevate had to take account of certain factors, and the Nitro particularly was one, because if you haven't cleared that out, with only 2 players, it's then very difficult to plant in that spot, because Felipox just runs downstairs, Nitro on the ceiling above him, and clears it out. But they knew that wasn't possible. So really well played, and I will say, Elevate, that's a round that they definitely came in and won.
All right, let's see if they can get any more on the board, Tim. Keep this one competitive as we go through. I think our game over on the A stream is also coming to a close, or probably a little bit further ahead than schedule than this one is right now. Last I checked, it was 6-3 to FearX against Cyclops. Pretty dominant in terms of performance. I think it's 6-4 it currently stands. So things are staying close over there, Tim, here. It's, again, competitive, but it does feel like FURIA are the ones pushing themselves towards a win. Let's see how things shape up though in this round. Flores coming along for Ion, no doubt identifying there's a few things to chew through in this round. The barbed wires, you've got the Maestro cameras to go through, of course you've got the Kiva barriers to be concerned about too. Lots they can look towards here to get busy with all those drones they've got on side. Also with Psycho playing on the Twitch, another few things to try and zap out as they run through the map too. Things like those FNATs from JV need to be taken out.
Just seeing great examples there of how this new banning system is going to impact on the game. How quickly that wall has got opened with the double electricity ban, able to just work their way through very, very quickly and just taking full advantage of that, full understanding of, hey, this is the space we've created with those bans, and we're going to make sure that we use it to full effect. Twitch drone goes up, will take out 1 FNAT, so getting some value out of that utility as well. I think that's something Elevate have done well so far on the attack, is how they've used that utility, whether it be the shield of Monty in the last round, whether it be the hard breach and the Twitch in this round. They're definitely focusing on it.
That's what they do from here though, Tim. It's all good moving fast, but are we at a point where we've got ourselves moving fast enough? Haven't yet moved Felipox out. You've got JV dug in too. I'd expect really by 1 minute 45 for you to have been able to move as a team and pressure these players away, but they're still stuck here as we're coming down to the last 75 seconds, still with utility deployed around the map. Yes, you've got a lot of drones you've got to use in Ion's back pocket, for example, but just feels like they might be leaving things down to the last 20 seconds or so before they even look at the site, let alone actually hit it.
Yeah, I mean, time was something that I did mention in the last one. We were kind of at that 30-second mark before the execute came in. Like you say, something that they need to be conscious of. Maybe something that newer teams do suffer from sometimes is
they've got it now.
A little bit of indecision. You know, it slows them down a little bit, but Like you said, they've got themselves established inside a construction. Herds is still holding on. Manages to do a little bit of damage there, and this is the problem for Elevate. They keep getting those bullets in, tickling them, taking away HP, little bit, and that is ultimately going to cost them the round.
And the problem here, Tim, I was going to say that Evil Eye is still up. They haven't been able to destroy most of this utility despite all the time they've had in this round. And I feel it's going to sting them. JV going down here. Semper finishes him off with the pistol. A 5 versus 4. Elevate could do this, Tim, but the clock is the 6th man here for Furia.
That's a big swing from Semper. From Romeo. Felipox was there to trade it out, but 2 kills come in. Surely he can't hold on. 12 seconds left to go. We know this man has the ability. Felipox moves in.
Oh my God.
KZ with a kill from beyond the grave. He makes it even more possible for Felipox. He downs the diffuser. Des, he's going to do this. The clock runs out, and Felipox completes a 1v4.
What more can you say? They moved so fast at the round start and everything ground to a halt. They didn't get rid of the Evil Eye that was there the whole round being a nuisance. Keeper barriers stayed up, and all Furia had to do was play to the clock. I said it becomes that 6th man, and that's exactly what we've seen. Now, Tim, we will get that extra ban that you mentioned. We might not get a chance to see, so we'll see what the 3rd operator each team will ban away is going to be here. 1 defender, 1 attacker to close things out, and it starts the conversation about an interesting ban that you can pick out here, because do you look to ban an operator away on the strongest site or pick the weakest site to guarantee that you win it? That Monty going away because they know that Psycho's been leaning on it, and Mira going to be the final ban taken out too.
This is what I like about this ban system, where you have that ban after a few rounds. After 3 rounds, you get that extra 1. We're going to see that sometimes kind of pre-planned. We saw it earlier when they took away the 2nd hard breach. It was as Thermite was the 1st ban, and then Ace was the 3rd ban. And so it's kind of completing a plan that you've already got. However, here, it's a little bit more like, that Monty has been a real problem. And I mean, you're going up against Psycho. You know Monty's going to be a real problem. So they've then experienced it and said, you know what, we don't need any more of that. And so you're going to have these reactive bans sometimes rather than the prescribed ones. And it'll really shape the game. I love that. So Furia 6-3 coming into round 10. They looked good in the last round. Felipox looked good. Furia didn't look fantastic, but Felipox was on it. 1v4, and he just played it. There was nothing flashy about that clutch from Felipox.
Nope.
He just did everything right. And if you want to say to me, Ace, how do I clutch? How do I clutch like Felipox? Just do everything right. Simple as that, really.
Absolutely. I had a quick question come in a second ago from someone, actually. Are matches only on the rework maps or any? They are on any of the 9 maps that we have in the pool, but you are right in what you're saying. Only 5 of our 9 maps have been updated to the Siege X graphic standard. And that's not because it's a lazy thing about it. It's more that some of the newer maps that we've had have either been reworked recently, like Consulate, or the other maps are already at a good standard. Things like Skyscraper, Lair, and Lab, some of our newer maps are already at a good level. So they'll be following, of course, as we get towards the launch of Siege X, Tim, which is going to be very exciting over the next month or so. Not forgetting, of course, we've got the year roadmap on the 18th of May, so next weekend you get to see what is the plan for Siege X this year. I'm really excited to see what comes. I always love seeing the year-long roadmaps and what's coming up over the next 12 months, and we get to see that here. Can't wait.
We've got his army just trying to lock themselves
easy.
inside a kitchen. Herds, however, manages to pop up from Lounge and find one onto Romeo. Ion does take down the somewhat indomitable JV92, 14-5 this game, absolutely flying, but will be cut out of this round. 4 versus 4, and Elevate just again having that little bit of a moment of a pause. What is going on here? Where are we working towards? Are they aware of KZ up above them though? That's the big question, Des. He could have a big impact on this round. I think they know that he's in there. They're just going to give themselves a little angle from Lounge and at least let him know that they know that he knows that they know.
Stop it. That hurts my head already. One was enough. Well, Psycho, of course, taken with the Monty away, is straight onto the more aggressive pairing of the shield operators. We mentioned you might see some co-op bans where a lot of shields get taken away, a lot of hard breaches go. He sees his man.
KZ's in trouble,
broke. I mean, a good bit of team play coming out. Fair enough, he was pinned in there. Not an awful lot he can do, and that is what Blitz does best. Yeah. Creates a lot of pressure, always a threat to you. When you've got a teammate up nearby to support that shield operator, well, it's hell on earth for the defender.
Just forcing that movement as well. KZ would never have moved his position there unless he's got the blitz in his face, so he didn't really have a choice. 3 versus 4, Furia might not be able to get it done inside of this round. It is Church and Arsenal, so time is less of a factor. We often see those final 20-second executes for Elevate to come in here. They don't need to worry too much about how much sand is left in the timer as it sort of runs through. They are ready to go here. They do have a man advantage. Utility that they're going to be playing against. We can see there the Goyo canister just being popped on the door to prevent that push coming in from Moto. Damage being done. Herd's finding a kill. FURIA holding on, Des.
It's the clock again, Tim. It was a 6-man for them in the last round. It's building up to be the same for Leapox onto Semper and Psycho and Naka. All that stand between FURIA and the first win here at Reload. They might get one back on side, but there's 5 seconds to go. Naka in a temporary 1v2 while this diffuser goes down, not being pushed. And FURIA might let this one stick. Sure enough, they get away with it. And now Psycho in a 1 versus 2. Push from the left, push from the right. He can do nothing. FURIA going to take this map 7-3 and lock in those 2 bullets for themselves.
Yeah, FURIA have played that absolutely perfectly there, recognising that they were up against a blitz. We push together, we push from opposite directions. There's nothing that Psycho can do. So a tough finish there for Elevate. Look, they haven't played terribly. They've played okay. They've come up against a very good FURIA today. As she said, they reloaded 2 bullets from their reserve, so they take an additional 2 and move up to 8. Elevate lose the bullet that they reloaded and drop down to 5.
I mean, let's talk about Elevate here a bit, because they're the new team as well, right? Positives they took from that game. I think on defense, they looked really good in a few of their rounds. Took a couple to warm into it, but they got there. On the attacking side, I think is where things came to a halt a little bit. They found themselves stalling out. They kind of know that coming to a moment where it's like, okay, guys, what do we do now? And that's something that takes a little bit of time to build. You're always going to struggle to come up against FURIA, who are one of the best teams in the world, unfortunately.
I don't think anybody would have wanted to play FURIA today, let's be honest. Day 1, we're up against FURIA. Yeah, great. You know,
first map of the tournament. Let's get the hard one out of the way, shall we?
Clubhouse as well. You know, FURIA are always going to come in and look good. As we progress through, it will be the lower ranked teams in terms of the points that will choose their opponents for the following days. So that will offer, you know, Elevate have lost some points there. They've lost one of the bullets, but it is going to mean potentially, we'll see how the rest of the day shapes up, they may be getting an earlier choice as to who they go against.
And of course, we get to see at the end of today's show over on the A stream who they pick to play against tomorrow. So make sure you check out that a bit later. But we've still got 4 more games to go here on the B stream. We'll go to a break, and when we come back, it's Cloud9 coming up against PSG Talon. See you in a bit.